so do we. We're so excited to have you here. Before we dive too deep in all the questions, I think there's a whole group of people who are fans of your work. Am I right? Just a little bit about you, kind of a little bit of backstory. Like, hey, who's John? Where are you from? Just give us a little bit of your story, man, and then we'll dive in.
Sure. So I'm originally from New York City. I was, New York. Born and raised in the city and the suburbs. Funny enough, I was born in Hell's Kitchen, which is on the west side of Midtown. It's a true story. It used to be called Hell's Kitchen. Now I think they call it Clinton Hill, which is a lot more sanitized. But it used to be a rough part of town with a lot of great restaurants. So, and then grew up in the suburbs of Long Island and went to school in Long Island and went to school in New York. I studied film. And before I moved to Los Angeles to pursue acting full-time, I had a whole other career behind the scenes as a location scout. So whenever movies or TV shows would need to find places like the show to shoot scenes, whether it's a house or a bar or a church or a field, my job would be to go and find those places and present the director with options. And so I did that for about 10 years before leaving to come to California to find my destiny.
Love it. All right. Well, let's talk about it. When did you go, I want to be an actor? What was that process, and how did you decide, this is what I want my profession to do?
So I always had a knack for voices and stuff, and I thought if I was going to do anything creative using my voice, it would be for voices for cartoons and things like that. But I never thought I would ever be in front of the camera. I was really painfully shy growing up, and so I never thought it was something that I would do. But if I did have a chance to kind of, live out this fantasy dream, would be to do voices in animation. And so my very first job as an actor was providing voices for a TV show for MTV called Celebrity Deathmatch. And that show, I don't know if anybody remembers that show, but it was these clay animated celebrities would fight each other in a ring to the death, and there would be entrails and also clay entrails, but entrails nonetheless all over the place. And they got very creative with how they actually found ways for the quote-unquote celebrities to kill each other in the ring. And then I provided voices for a number of those celebrities as an impressionist and some other characters as well. So that was my first job.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
John, we just showed that clip, and you just mentioned how that gets you emotionally every time. And it's a very emotional clip for me, and I think a lot of us can identify with that. That clip has been sort of a foundation of life search. I just wonder if you could take us back, not necessarily maybe behind the scenes, but the scriptural context to when Peter's just grinding it out, working. And we're all in the workplace doing what we think God's called us to do. Sometimes we're discouraged, we're stressed out. And there is Jesus trying to get our attention. He's right there. You could just unpack that clip a little bit more, or that story for us. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, well, I think most of us can identify with the day-to-day grind. And it's very easy to get swept up in the stresses that come with that. What it means to be pursuing, whether it's a dream or trying to build something, a business, a career. And, we live in this realm. We live on this planet, in the earthly, fleshly realm. And God is always seeking for us to meet Him in the spiritual realm. And what happens when we ignore that, or when we get too focused on the things of this world, specifically rooted in fear, anxiety, depression, like hopelessness. And here's Jesus saying, no, I offer you hope, I offer you faith, I offer you the antidote to all of those things. But it can be really, really difficult to actually put that in practice when you are so completely overwhelmed. It was for me for many years. Fortunately, I tended to really try to discern and let go of my concept of what it meant to pursue my career with God in my mind.